Tony, how you going?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's good to get you on here.
Yeah, thank you.
So I
Thanks
was wondering what you've been up to and been following you on Facebook and stuff, and yeah, watching your whole book thing kick off a bit. I guess from the sidelines there, I haven't been fully seeing what's going on there. So if you want to fill us in,
Yeah, that's it. There, Phoenix Rising, terror victim to burn survivors. So thought I'd put pen to paper. 20 years anniversary sort of thing, and share the story about my survival in the bombings. So yeah,
it's definitely. I'm sure it's an interesting one. How long did that take you to put together?
I think I started back in 2016, and I've sort of been plugging away at it slowly ever since then. Not really. Sometimes, some months I'd sort of write, and other times I just put it down for a bit and that. Yeah. But probably about 5.5 years all up, I guess. Yeah, on and off. Yeah.
So you actually were doing the writing yourself, were you?
Yeah. Did most of the writing myself, and then had an editor look over it and that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one that I've thought before. I wouldn't mind writing a book because I've got a very extensive medical history, and I've thought I wouldn't mind to maybe write a book about it, but I would never know where to start. I can't even write a text message sometimes.
Yeah. Well, look, initially, like 10 years ago, someone had said, "I'll write a book about it." I said, "Oh, no, who's going to read my sort of book?" And then as time went on, I sort of realised that, there's probably people out there that struggle with, trauma and injury, and if they can get a bit of inspiration from me, then I think it's a good thing. So yeah,
definitely, man. No, good on you, and that's definitely applaud you for that, because it's a good thing to do.
Yeah,
guys, a lot of people don't want to talk about their trauma either. Some people, but it's good. It's good that you're comfortable to, you know what I mean. I'm sure it's liberating sometimes for you, or cathartic.
Yeah, I think it is cathartic. Yeah, it's good to sort of get it out on paper and put a start and an end to it. And I think I've sort of got a bit of closure out of it as well, from writing the book and putting it all out there, and it sort of gets it out off your chest sort of thing, And I think as males, we don't often talk a lot about sort of things. We keep it bottled up, and it's not really good, for our mental health. So it's good to sort of talk about these sort of things and get them out there, and you feel a lot better for it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, well, definitely keen to give it a read for sure.
Yeah.
Do you bring a spare copy with you?
Oh, this is your copy, mate.
Oh, good on you, mate. Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, I'll definitely I'll have a read of that, and then I'll chuck it up on that shelf behind you, so it's on display. Yeah, cool. It's not real thick either. Which is good, because I've got a pretty crappy attention span. If a book's good, I'll read it. But you know what I mean. Like, you go, I'll pick it back up. Fuck, I've only feels like I've read half a book and I've only gotten the first chapter. So, you know what I mean. But that's cool, man. Pretty, yeah. So how did you actually how do you go about like pitching this kind of thing to people to actually get it into a book form? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I self-publish, so to sort of get a publisher, it's a bit hard. You've sort of got to have an existing sort of following, if you like. You've got to be a renowned sort of...
You got to have like a portfolio kind of thing.
You got to be like a sportsman or a journalist or a prime minister or something like that, or a famous doctor, and then they'll take your book and they'll just make your profile
be guaranteed that they're going to get.
That's right.
Sales.
It is a big risk for them. So basically, I went down the self-publishing path and found it pretty easy to do. You find editors and proofreaders online very easily, and they'll do your work for you. And then found a really good book producer, if you like, a lady by the name of Michelle Hollyhead from the Book Studio in Queensland, and she was really, really good. She puts it all together, formats it, does the cover design, and just basically puts it all together for you in a book format. And then I sort of uploaded onto Ingram Spark, which is a book distributor based in Melbourne, and they got access to about 40,000 retailers throughout the world, and all 6 major ebook platforms. So really easy these days to write a book and get it out there. You know, there's nothing really hard about it, to be honest.
So these are obviously available digitally as well. So like on like Audible and stuff like that.
Yeah, Kindle, Kobo, and that sort of thing as an ebook, and then you can order online a print version if you like. In terms of market share, it's about 50-50 between ebook and hard copy books.
Oh, really?
People are still like to hold something in their hand
I'm
rather
exactly
than
the same as that. Just don't mean to go off on a little tangent here, but so with guitar, tablature stuff, I'm not sure if you're aware what that is. Do you play any instruments? Or?
No, not me.
Okay, so it's like a kind of written music for guitar, but a bit more simple than typical notation that you would see. If I've got books, I find it easier to sit down and practice. If it's on the computer screen, I just don't absorb it as well. I don't know why. It's kind of a strange thing, but definitely I'd prefer something more tangible, and something you can hold. And
look, throughout school, it was always sort of textbooks and you know, books that you could hold. That we didn't have things like iPads and iPhones and all that. So I guess that's what you're used to. So
definitely, as much as they've substituted, the paper to the screen now, it's still not as good of a substitute. I don't think it's handy. It's obviously you don't have to carry armfuls of books everywhere, but pros and cons of things, eh?
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
But so obviously, if you don't mind telling us how it all started. So you were obviously on holiday or something, were you, with family? Or?
Yeah, it was funny actually. It was going to be a mate's weekend away. There was going to be 4 of us going, and originally we planned to go in April of that year, and I was actually working as a fleet controller with Brambles Industrial Services at the time, and I got a phone call from my mate, and he said, look, school holidays are on in April. It's going to be pretty busy over there with kids and families and all that sort of thing. We might find it hard to get a deck chair by the pool sort of thing, I said, you're probably right. We should probably look for a change in date. And so anyway, he sifted through his diary and he chose October 11, just I don't know, out of the blue sort of thing. And so we said, we'll go October 11, And we sort of, the other 2 guys that were meant to come, they pulled out for various reasons. And so it was just me and my mate, and we were starting to think, should we really go or not? And that year I lost my dad as well. He died from cancer in May of that year. So it was a bit sort of still a bit raw and all that sort of thing. And I was 2 minds about going sort of thing. And eventually we said, well, stuff it, we're going to go. It's only 7 days. We'll go there, relax a bit, and just come back with a bit of a suntan sort of thing, Well, that changed. That didn't happen. And, so we got there on the Friday night, which was the 11th of October. It was probably late afternoon. And the next day we sort of lazed around the pool area there at the hotel, just relaxing and drinking. And that afternoon or that evening we had dinner at the hotel there. It was happy hour actually before then, and got stuck into the bintang and that, as you do when you're on holidays and that, and relaxing. And I'd actually, because I spent the whole day on the pool, I forgot to put sun cream on. So I actually had some pretty bad sunburn, and I was going to go back to my hotel room just to put a bit of moisturiser on there and just relax a bit, because it was starting to sting. And so anyway, on my way back to my room, I stopped off at the toilet block there, and I come out, one of the other guys that was at the hotel that we'd met, he said, we're going down to the Sari Club for a drink, did you want to come along? And I was, I'll come down for a beer, just to see what it's like, it was just a sort of spur of the moment thing, it was still early night, 9 o'clock, something like that. And so, off we went to the Sari Club and got there about just after 9 and probably about half full, typical pub scene sort of thing, people having drinks, partying, laughing, dancing and all that sort of stuff. And I had about a quarter of a bintang left, and I was actually going to go back to my hotel room to see where my mate was, because he was still back at the hotel. And I sort of stopped off at the front bar. I'm not sure if you've never been. You've never been, yeah. Well, anyway, at the Sari, there's a front bar area, sunken bar area, rectangular sort of bar, and stopped off there just at the back of the bar, just finishing off my bintang, chatting to a couple of Aussie girls that were on holiday, and I was just about to leave, actually, and all of a sudden there was this almighty bang down the road at Paddy's Bar. So Paddy's and Sari are pretty close together, probably about 100 metres apart, maybe a bit less. And so I looked sort of south towards Paddy's, and all I could see was this huge mushroom cloud of smoke sort of rising through the roof of Paddy's, which was a 2-storey bar.
So what did you initially think? Did you think, it was like a gas explosion, like an accident or something? Or?
Exactly right. Yeah. And someone shouted out, "What the hell was that?" sort of really loud. And then someone else said, "Oh, maybe a gas explosion." Okay. And then someone else said plane crash maybe, and there was all these sort of scenarios going through people's heads, The thought of terror attack never really crossed my mind, Well, you're on holiday, How wrong were we? And by that stage, the car bomb, the van, was parked out the front of the Sari.
Okay.
And no one knew. No one knew.
Looked pretty inconspicuous, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's it, And so it wasn't long after that, maybe 30 seconds or so, I looked at the front. I had a clear view of the front door of the Sari. I could see the bouncers there and security and that, and I saw them arguing with someone. And then all of a sudden they pulled out their dagger knives. They held these big dagger knives on the side of their waist. And I thought to myself, oh, shit, this looks pretty serious, Something's going on here. And that was the last thing I remember before the car bomb exploded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think they were arguing maybe with the guy in the van, trying to get him to move on or whatever, because Legian Road, which is the road out the front of the Surrey, it's a one-way road. And so if you stop, you block all the traffic for 2 kilometres up the road, It's a pretty busy road. And so I think they must have been trying to get him to move on, and he wouldn't move because obviously he
had some intentions.
That's right, yeah. So, and then... geez, after that, when so the bomb went off, knocked me unconscious, and geez, I don't know how long I was unconscious for. And when I woke up, I'm lying on my back there, buried sort of under the rubble of the Sari. The Sari was completely destroyed, and so I'm buried, under all these like timbers and debris and all this crap on top of me. It's all on fire, And so I wake up and. I'm looking around. I can't see anyone. There's no one left.
It would be surreal. Did you think you were alive still, or what did you? What?
At that stage, I didn't know. I didn't really know, to be honest, whether I was alive or dead. Yeah, it was just kind of like just waking up. Waking up in the morning. And you're still sort of a bit dazed, a bit confused, and you got all this burning timber on you, and you look around, you can't see anyone. A minute ago it was a pub, with bars and dance floor and people and all that. And then next minute, nothing. Yeah. Apart from fire and destruction and everything's destroyed, It's like, bloody hell, what's happened here sort of thing, And so instinctively I just thought, well, I've got to get these timbers off me to start with, So I pushed them all off and... I got up on my feet and I'm looking around and like I was just saying, there's no one left. A minute ago it was packed and then nothing. I was like, and I didn't know at that stage what the hell had happened apart from something bad, And everywhere I looked there was fire, spot fires everywhere, So I'm thinking, oh shit, I've got to get out of here sort of thing, Your sort of instincts kick in, and so I didn't know where to go, couldn't see anyone.
Could you hear?
Oh, I think so, yeah. As it turns out, I lost my hearing on my left side, but my right side's still good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I could hear, and I could sort of hear the crackling of the fire, when it's burning timber, and you hear that crackle sound, And so I'm looking around thinking, shit, where do I go? And I looked to my left, about 45-degree angle, and I see this hole in the wall, about 20 metres away. Had jagged edges around it, quite a big hole, and I thought, I'm going to go that way, and then I seen this light, this circular light hovering above the hole in the wall. It was probably about circular, about 2 metres in diameter, maybe a bit more, and it was glowing. It was really, really bright light glowing over this hole, and for some reason it just drew me to that hole. It was like it's just saying, come this way sort of thing, and so I started walking towards the hole in the wall, and I'm walking, and there's just crap all over the floor. There's broken bottles, glass, timbers, paving bricks, metal, all sorts of crap, debris on the floor, and it was quite deep. So as I'm walking along, and my feet are sinking into the sari, they're sinking into it like walking through quicksand, and it felt as though the sari was trying to swallow me up,
Yeah.
But eventually I sort of got to this hole in the wall and made it sort of out, sort of into an area where there wasn't fire, and ended up walking about 20 metres, probably about 30 metres down this sort of laneway, if you like, against this wall, and couldn't see anyone again. I'm starting to think, oh shit, have I made the right decision here, or what's going on? And eventually I come across some other people that were injured and they were lying up against the wall, so I sort of sat down next to them, and by that stage all the smoke had filled my lungs from the fires, and I was sort of panting, gasping for breath, trying to get my breath back. So sat down, got down as close as I could to the ground just to get some oxygen into my lungs, and probably laid there for about 5 to 10 minutes, I guess, maybe a bit more. And I remember sort of looking back at the Sari Club, and all I could see were these black plumes of smoke just billowing out from the rear of the Sari, just huge amounts of smoke. And I could hear a lot of screaming and a lot of shouting at the back there. People were trapped, as it turns out, and unfortunately a lot of people perished at the back there because they couldn't get out. And
also did a lot die from smoke inhalation?
Yeah, mostly smoke, and then obviously the fire as well. So
yeah, right. So the explosion itself, was that really deadly, or was it more the after effects of it?
Yeah, probably a bit of both. Yeah. So initially, the explosion would have killed a lot of people instantly. I believe some people were even vaporised from it. It was that bad, and then others obviously died from smoke inhalation because they were trapped, and then others probably died from when they try to escape, jumping off walls and that sort of thing, and breaking their necks and that. So it was pretty horrific all around, really.
Yeah. Well, so at what point did you come to the realisation that something obviously bad had happened? At what point did you kind of go, shit, something's blowing up or something like that?
Yeah, well, I think
what did you think the origin was of whatever the situation was at the time? Do you think that there was just like somehow caught fire or something? Or?
Yeah. I thought maybe gas explosion initially. I thought,
Do you think it was related to the other one that you heard prior to that?
No. It was just so sudden and so instant. You just didn't expect it. It was right out of right field. And. So we didn't sort of put the two together, it wasn't until later that you worked out what had happened that you put the two together, so, I'm lying there sort of badly injured, suffering pretty bad burns on my left side especially, and I for the first time in my life I felt completely helpless, I couldn't help myself, people around me were injured, and we were sort of... Yeah, we just sort of started shouting for help, as loud as I could, trying to get someone's attention. And so I started shouting for help, and eventually this Balinese man come running along with a makeshift stretcher, and he sort of gestured to me, get on the stretcher sort of thing. So I did, and then some other first responders come along and lifted me up and carried me out of the area. So, that's basically what saved us, Yeah,
right. And so... and how long did it take the emergency services to get there? Was it a while or...?
It was, because Legium Road's a one-way road, and obviously there was that backlog of vehicles, and so the emergency services couldn't get through. They had to clear a path to get through to the fires. And by that stage the fires had taken hold. Pretty bad inferno in both clubs. And you've probably seen the video footage anyway on TV and that, and. So unfortunately, people that were trapped in there didn't really stand a chance. It was pretty bad way to die. So definitely. Unfortunately, for the terrorists, they did their research and they picked a good target. They certainly achieved what they were trying to do.
Yeah, was their goal to obviously harm Australians? Was that the primary goal, or?
Look, hard to say. I mean, obviously Bali is one of our favourite holiday destination, so there was always going to be a high number of Aussies being killed. Whether they set out to target just Australians, I don't think so. I think it was more of just a general attack against people because, 38 Indonesians died as well. So, they didn't really discriminate as to who they were targeting. It was just like, we'll park the bomb here and we'll set it off sort of thing, and whoever dies,
Yeah, because I'm looked into the whole thing at all, really. I just remember it being on TV, obviously, 20 years ago, but since then, I never really looked into it. So were these people that did this, were they Indonesian, or did they fly from another country and come over and do it? Or
no, they were Indonesian. They were Javanese. They were affiliated with Jemaah Islamiyah Terror Network, which is associated or subsidiary of the Al Qaeda network. So they were sort of all affiliated with that. So. Yeah, pretty bad, really, to kill your own country, men and women. Really. It's it's really just mass murder. That's all it is.
It's it's hard to get your head around. Like you can't really understand it either, can you? Because if you don't think like that, it's hard to understand why they would do something like that.
20 years on, you look back on it and you think, well, what did they actually achieve? And apart from killing a lot of people, injuring a lot of people,
getting themselves locked up and
killed, it just seems like a pointless exercise, really.
Yeah, and so I think I saw on your Facebook that one of the guys, did he get released recently or something like that? Or?
Yeah, so Umar Patek, they were thinking of releasing him before the anniversary, but it looks like they've held off on that.
Okay.
So as to when they're going to do it, it's anyone's guess, really. But he's only done 10 years out of a 20-year sentence. And
crazy.
He was the guy that built the bomb. Yeah, he actually built it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So was it a suicide bomb, was it?
Yeah, so the first bomb at Paddy's Bar was a suicide bomber. So he walked into the club, went to the back area where the dance floor was, and then detonated his suicide vest. And so that was that black mushroom cloud of smoke that I saw rise out of the roof of Paddy's. Mm-hmm. And then 20 seconds after that, there was the van that was parked outside the front of the sari, full of about a ton of explosives, which was then detonated. So, 2 bombs. And then there was a third bomb at the US consulate, which was a smaller bomb on a motorbike sort of thing, which didn't really do a lot of damage. So.
Oh, okay. How many people died at that Paddy's Bar from the suicide bomb? There?
Oh, look, it's hard to say. I'm not sure what the exact stats are, but it would have been quite a few. Yeah, the dance floor, I imagine, would have been pretty packed.
Yeah. Fucking hell. So, how many people do they know were involved in that whole kind of operation? Do they know how many people were involved in the whole thing? Was it just the bomb maker and then the guys that carried it out, or was there like kind of a group
there was quite a few. Yeah, I think probably about 20 to 30 all up. Yeah.
Did they get most of them? Did they?
Yeah. They hunted down most of them afterwards. And obviously the 3 main perpetrators, they were executed to death.
Oh, yeah.
They were killed, and then the others received jail sentences of various degrees for their role in it. So
that's weird. You can just make a bomb and then not even get executed for it, but
well, it's strange. I mean, you look at someone like Chappelle Corby, who convicted of smuggling marijuana into the country, and she did 9 years. Yeah, she didn't kill anyone. All she did was brought a bit of marijuana in, which is available on the streets all the time anyway. Yeah, and there's harsher drugs than that over there, and you got this guy who's built a bomb, killed 202 people, injured another 240. He's done 10 years, and they're thinking they're letting him go. It's
it's weird because
strange,
with marijuana, it's only the only person it affects is the person taking it. Whereas if you build a bomb, it affects
well, that's right.
Other people. Yeah,
exactly right. And some places marijuana is legal anyway. So,
exactly. Whereas bombs aren't legal anywhere. Really.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's crazy. So. Did you, when he was going to be released, did you like appeal or do some kind of thing legally to try to block that, or?
I think the Australian government made some representations in the matter and said, look, we're not happy with him being released, sort of thing. But look, I mean, you're dealing with a justice system in a foreign country, which is, they have their own laws and their own ways of doing things. So it's a bit, it's a bit hard for us to sort of have much influence, I think, over it. Yeah.
Is the guy remorseful? Do you know?
Apparently he is, but whether he's genuine or whether he's just saying it because he wants to get out, well, that's anyone's guess, really. Yeah.
It's you wouldn't want that guy walking around on the streets again, would you?
Well, that's right. I mean, he could do it again. You know? He could join another one of these groups and go, "Yep, we'll do this again," sort of thing. It's it's hard to know, really.
Yeah. So so after that. The initial bombings there, was that it? That over there pretty much nothing more happened?
No, there was actually another bombing in 1st of April 2005 where they bombed a restaurant and killed 20 people all up, including I think 4 Australians.
Yeah, right.
That was the second time. And they actually planted some bombs on the beach.
Yeah, okay.
Underneath the sand where people were relaxing and having a good time and they're just going for a swim.
Yeah.
And they were bombed in the beach cafes and that there. So
was it this same group of guys?
Same terrorist group. Yeah.
And and since then, is that pretty much just that the whole movement died out, has it?
Since then, there hasn't been anything major happen in Indonesia. Well, not in Bali anyway. There have been other church bombings in Indonesia, and that's pretty regular occurrence. But the Indonesian government set up a special police squad called Detachment 88, which is a counter-terrorism squad, and they've been very successful in hunting down a lot of terrorists in the country and jailing them, and quite a few have been killed in firefights with the police and that sort of thing. So they've actually, I think, done a really good job of preventing further attacks. Yeah. And I was actually, funny story, one of the guys that works with me, Scott Gerling, he was previously with the AFP.
Okay.
And I didn't know this, and he was actually going out with Detachment 88 and hunting down these terrorists as a joint operation between the AFP and he's working for us now, and he's telling me all about it. So that was quite
so you get a different perspective from that perspective. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I bet he's got some interesting stories.
Yeah. I had no idea, that he was with the AFP and he's now working for us. So
might have to get him on here sometime.
Yeah. I'm sure he'd have a few stories to tell.
Yeah, definitely. So, going back to yourself though, so obviously after you got on this stretcher and that, then obviously you went to hospital over there, and did you stay in hospital there for long and then come to Australia, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I was taken to Kasihibu Hospital in Jimbaran Bay, which is a medical clinic, and I sort of don't remember a lot there. Apparently I made a phone call home. Apparently they did an operation on me. Don't really recall a lot of it. I think I was sedated for most of the time. Yeah. And then the next thing I remember was waking up in the back of a van and driving along the road, and the driver and his passenger were talking in their native Bahasa language, and I sort of just came to sort of thing, and I said to them, where are we going? And they said, airport, and I said, okay, airport, must be going somewhere. And as it turns out, I was in the back of an ambulance, and they were taking me to the airport for a medical evacuation. So the Australian government sent 6 of their Air Force planes over, the C-130J Hercules, to take people out of Bali and back to Australia. So so I was airlifted out and taken to the Royal Darwin Hospital. I got there on the morning of the, I think it was the 14th. Morning of the 14th of October, which was actually my birthday, my 26th birthday. So, I don't remember anything though. It's the only one birthday that I can honestly say I don't remember a single thing about it. Because I was under heavy sedation at that stage. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, Jesus. So how extensive are your injuries from it?
Yeah, pretty bad. Had burns to 60% of my body, mostly full thickness, mostly on my back, my arms, back of my head, a little bit on my legs as well. But I think because I was sitting behind the bar, the actual bar protected my legs from any burns, so it was really the upper body that copped it. Obviously lost my hearing on my left side.
Is that recovered?
No, it's permanent. So.
Oh, wow, shit.
Had swelling on the brain as well. Suffered from renal failure whilst I was in Royal Darwin, and also acute traumatic coagulopathy, I can never say that word, and hypervolemic shock as well. So the doctors had to do some pretty drastic stuff with medication and that to keep me alive, but they did a really good job. And on the morning of the 15th, I arrived down at Royal Perth Hospital and put into the intensive care unit there.
Yeah.
So I spent the next 52 days actually in intensive care.
Yeah, shit. It's a long time.
44 days in an induced coma as well. So, so during that time I had 3 operations, mostly skin grafting and digging out shrapnel and that sort of stuff, and had some major battles with infection.
Yeah, okay.
So I had about 9 or 10 different types of bacteria in my body, which was causing a lot of issues. So yeah, I think they at one stage there they used every antibiotic they had available to them in the hospital, and it still wouldn't kill the bacteria. So it took some pretty drastic surgery in the end to save me life. And Professor Fiona Wood did a really good job there, and replacing all the skin on my back and my arms with skin grafts, and then using her innovative spray on skin technology as well, which is really good. So
what's that? How does that work?
Yeah, so back in the 1990s, Professor Wood and Marie Stoner, they developed a new way of helping skin heal. So they'll take a small patch of your skin, they'll put it in a dish, and they're able to multiply the skin cells, so create more skin cells outside of the body. And then they put that into a syringe and they spray it onto the affected area or the burnt area, and that just helps the skin heal a lot quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, so using your own skin cells to help to help you heal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so far it's helped about 15,000 people throughout the world.
Yeah, right.
It's now sold throughout the world, so about 15,000 people have received it.
Yeah.
And help them recover, and they're also using it in other skin conditions as well to help people with that. So yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. So do you know if they can use like stem cell stuff as well for that nowadays, or?
Oh, they are looking at that sort of technology as well, stem cells and the role that bone marrow plays in it, and that, because a burns injury it doesn't just affect your skin; it affects a lot of the underlying organs as well. So your nervous system, your bone marrow, your sweat glands, your hair follicles, everything gets affected. Yeah. So once you're burnt, there's a lot of other organs which are affected as well, including the brain, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done in that area to try and unlock the mystery, if you like, of a burns injury. So I've been involved in quite a few research projects since then, just helping the researchers out and trying to get a better understanding of it. So 50% of the profits from the book are actually going to the Fiona Wood Foundation to help with ongoing burns research. So.
No, well, there you go. So and what's the easiest way to get your book for anyone listening?
Yeah, so any bookstore, online bookstore, Booktopia, Amazon have got it.
I'll put a link as well. Yeah. And all that,
And I've got my own website called antony.svilicich.com.au.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's antonysvilicich.com.au. And you can order it online there and get a signed copy from me as well. So.
Oh, cool. No worries. Yeah, well, I'll plug that. I'll chuck all the links up, all the relevant ones. I'll get you to send them to me on Messenger or something.
Yeah.
Chuck it in and So how long all up was it before you were able to go home?
Yeah, so I spent nearly 2 months and 21 days in hospital. Yeah. So I was released from hospital on the 6th of January 2003. So I was the last Bali patient to leave hospital in WA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, out of the 28 patients that they received, I was the last one out. So, it was quite a momentous occasion, being in hospital for so long, being able to go home and being in the comforts of your own surrounds and, having your own bed and your own shower and all that sort of thing, it was a really good help towards my rehabilitation, but I still had to go back every day to hospital after that for ongoing rehab, so a lot of physiotherapy, occupational therapy and further operations as well.
Yeah.
So it took about 13 months all up before I was able to go back to work. Yeah,
okay, yeah, right. So do you still, obviously from the nerve damage and that, do you still get like pain or anything associated with that, or...?
Yeah. Occasionally you do get a bit of joint pain and that sort of thing, but it's hard to tell whether it's from the burn injury or whether it's just getting old
old
age.
Yeah.
But you do feel, you do start to feel it as you get older. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What about it? Say if you're sitting down, obviously because your back was affected, does that hurt at all to sit down?
No, it doesn't really hurt.
No,
it just gets a bit stiff at times.
Yeah,
I do a lot of stretching these days. I'm right into that, Pilates and yoga and all that sort of thing. I find stuff, really helpful. Yeah,
it's good for you for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to add about it? Anything else you want to talk about with
that? No, I think we've covered pretty much everything. To be honest, yeah.
What's that? Well, what's actually at the location of where that club was now? What's the?
Yeah. So it's a good question because we're back in 2008. We actually formed the Bali Peace Park Association, and we were looking at building a peace park on the site. As a bit of a place where people can meet and reflect on the tragedy and that sort of thing. And so we spent nearly, must have been about 9 years working on that project, trying to buy the land off the owner because it's privately owned land. And we thought we had a deal. Late last year, we were going to pay $4.8 million for the land, and we thought, we were going to. The landowner was going to sign on the dotted line, so to speak, and then at the 11th hour he came back to us and said, he wants an extra $9 million in compensation for lost earnings. And we thought, there's no way in the world we're going to be able to pay $14 million for this block of land. It's just too much, It's only a 600 square metre block of land, like a suburban block sort of thing, And so, we had to make this sort of tough decision to withdraw from the negotiations altogether late last year. So that was a bit disappointing because we'd spent so much time on the project and, there was a lot of support for it, both here and in Australia and in Bali as well. So I'll write a chapter about that in the book and how that all sort of eventuated as well. But would have been good to have a peace park there, but, unfortunately it wasn't to be.
So what's actually on the land now? Just other buildings? Did they obviously demolish the remains of that building? And
they cleaned up all the rubble and that, but it's just a vacant block now.
And it has been ever since?
It has been ever since, yeah. Just a bit of, vegetation and that from weeds growing, and that's it,
Yeah, right.
There are rumours that he is looking at building a 5-storey entertainment complex on there, which is probably why he didn't want to sell to us. So I dare say eventually it will, turn into another entertainment
kind of thing.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, right. And so is there any kind of memorial over here then?
Yep.
That's behind you, obviously.
Yeah, that's right. So that's there is a memorial in Bali across the road from the Sari Club, which is the one you see on the cover of the book. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, that's across the road from it, eh?
That's correct. Yeah, right across the road. So there's like a junction there between Paddy's Bar and Sari, and they built it right on the corner there. So that's quite nice. Nice of them to do that. And then here in Perth, we've got a memorial up at Kings Park as well. That was built shortly after the bombings, I think in 2003 or 2004, and that's right up there near the on Fraser Avenue there, closest to I think it's Hay Street there, I think. Or Kings Park Road, I think.
Yeah, right. I'll have to go check it out. Because I've only been to Kings Park, I think once, or maybe when I was a kid, but as an adult, me and my wife and I went up there. But I'll have to check it out again.
It's quite good actually.
It's a nice spot,
it's a really, really nice spot. Best views in Perth, and in springtime you also get all the flowers and that blooming and that, and it's really really good place to visit. Yeah,
it is definitely. Yeah, well. I don't think that about wraps it up, but yeah. Thanks again for coming on and talking about it. And,
look, not a problem. Yeah,
and I'm definitely eager to get into this and have a read through and all that.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of an eye opener, but not something you would have expected to happen on your holiday. But look, as they say, strange things do happen, and this was just one of those. Just a moment in time that I don't think anyone's going to really forget in a hurry. Yeah,
it's just crazy, mate. Yeah, it's don't know what to say. It's it's bloody wild, mate. It's humans, eh?
Look, I think we're our own worst enemy at times, to be honest. I mean, some of the stuff we do to each other, you just cringe, and you look at what's happening over in the Ukraine at the moment, and those people are going through this every single day.
Yeah, that's right.
They're getting bombed every day, and there's nothing much they can do really apart from fight back.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of places happening in the world, really. When you see like I guess like Somalia and all that, and Libya and all them places. There's it's crazy because we were so comfortable here. In Australia, nothing happens really.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I reckon we're the luckiest country on earth because nothing really major happens. I mean, obviously we have a lot of natural disasters and that, but
we're in WA though, we're
we're
apart
pretty.
From fires is really the only thing we get, really, isn't it?
Really, yeah, we're pretty lucky.
And even then, we don't tend to have them too often or too bad compared to over east.
That's right. It's probably here. It's probably once every 5 or so years. We get a big one. But apart from that,
no, definitely lucky in that way for sure. It's hard to put it into perspective as well. Obviously, it's easier for someone like yourself, but other people, when it's all we've known is living in Perth or in a safe spot in Australia, it's hard to put into perspective what some people go through. Like some people, all they would know is war or something,
That's right. They've grown up with war all their life, and I've spoken to refugees that have come from Europe and survived war zones, and, a lot of those people are still suffering from the effects of seeing that, as well. Yeah. And, being in a safe country now, they're just so I guess, happy, to be out of that sort of environment where, they don't know whether they're going to live or die, day by day.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of them still suffer from PTSD and those sort of things, not surprising after what, they've been through. So,
definitely. And that's like recently, this is going off on a bit of a tangent, but hung out with some guys from America. They were just touring to Perth with their band, and I just met up with them at Little Creatures brewery there, and I don't know how we got onto the subject, but one of them said he feels so safe sitting in Little Creatures knowing that no one in there's got a gun.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously from the US.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he said he goes, it's pretty good knowing that in here if something happened, I could probably handle myself.
Yeah.
But if something happened in the US, you don't know who's going to pull a gun on you. Or,
that's right.
Or a knife, or I guess anyone could pack a knife around here, but it's highly unlikely compared to other places,
Yeah.
And and I was like, that's a good point, but I don't really ever think about that because, no one owns guns over here really, apart from farmers and the odd people that have them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think one of the best things we ever did was the gun buyback scheme after the Port Arthur massacre, and took all those guns off people's hands, because you can never you never know what people are thinking, and
that's right. Yeah,
a lot of people suffer from mental health and mental health issues, and and that sort of thing, and it's very easy to get trigger happy and pull the trigger, and then you obviously
thing,
exactly
which
right.
You might never have intended to do that, but if the opportunistic thing, there's a gun there, and you got the brain snap.
Yeah, that's right. That's all it takes, And so the best thing is to take those guns off people's hands so they can't do it.
Yeah. No, well, good on you. Thanks, Tony. It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Fabian. Great to see you.
Thanks so much. And one last thing as well. What's next for you?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of in the book writing mode, and I'm thinking about writing my next book actually. So
is it related somehow or something else? Or?
Yeah, so I'm going to sort of focus more on the mental health side of things, and just talk about that and how I sort of overcame my mental health issues and that, and sort of helping people become more resilient in their lives, and things they can do to become more resilient and sort of deal with the I guess the ups and downs that life can throw at us occasionally, and that. So looking forward to getting my teeth into that, and hopefully next time I speak to you I'll have a copy of that book here as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so do you actually do any kind of motivational speaking? Have you done kind of like a tour around kind of thing?
Not something I've thought about doing, mainly because I don't really have the time for it. But in the future I'd probably like to do that. Yeah, definitely talk more about my experiences, and
no, that's good. Good on you, man. Yeah. Alrighty, good on you. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Fabian.
Cheers.